Hello and welcome back to the Edain mod for Battlefield Middle-earth 2, the Rise of the Witch King expansion. And today we are looking at Mordor. I was planning to do this separately, again, like how I did Iron Hills and Ered Luin. But after talking about it for an hour, and then the game crashed while I was started talking about the heroes. That's right, it took me an hour to start talking about the heroes. I decided, okay, let's not bother trying to do all that. Let's just play through it, and we might stand a chance of getting everything talked about. Because goddamn, there's a lot to talk about with Mordor. If anything, this could be the longest of the overviews because of how expansive Mordor is. There's so much to them. So the first units, you'll notice the generic Orc units, the Mordor Orcs. They do not get forged blades or heavy armor. They're very much like the peasants of Rohan, except they do not have any form of upgrades once they reach level 2. All they can do is get to rank 2, and they can start retraining. But other than that, they have nothing special to them. So I'll start making sense of everything that I'm doing once we get into it. But right now, I'm very, very focused. I've spent 2 hours now trying to get this one video done. 2 hours. I am not happy right now. I'm very, very peed off. And the last thing I want to have to do is have to do this again after another hour or 2 of just trying to get this one video done. So I'm pumped to get this done. So looking at the Orc Barracks, it looks a lot better than that of the original Orc Barracks from BFME 2. That's because the fortress buildings are meant to look more the style of the Black Numenorians, or just the Black Gates designs. Obviously, one thing to note is once you go out of the into places like the settlements and the outposts, you'll notice that your design goes up, bigs it off a bit. Obviously, the Orc tents not as pretty as the buildings inside of Fortress. But of course, the design of the buildings and things like that do not make anything weaker or stronger. It just it's just a nice design change, basically. And I must admit, I do like it quite a bit. As you'll note, we have quite a few more Orc Warriors set up, because they are all free. Orc Warriors, all 3 Orc Warrior units you can make, including those from Dol Guldur and Minas Morgul, are free. So whenever you have a building set up, spam them out. Spam them out. Do not give your opponent time to relax for a second. You must always be spamming out more Orc Warriors. If you slack behind, your units are not going to even hold a candle up to a Gondor soldier unit, which can go into a block formation and can get full upgrades. You don't stand a chance. Looking at the first hero, we have our scout hero Gorbag. He can switch between himself and Shagrat, which we will talk more about in the future. But what Gorbag can do, he can perform an ability which makes another Orc. You may think, one Orc? That's terrible. Well, these Orcs are special. These Orcs have increased vision range and can reveal enemy units. Also, they're slightly stronger than the generic Orc, with 410 health compared to... Orc will stand still for a second. 180, so already 2 times health. Got 2 times the amount of health of the generic Orc Warrior units. Again, micromanaging as much as possible. No time to rest. Because look at that, Mordor. Our opponent is already making farms. Is taking out everything around here. Oh, and I wasn't really going to notice against 2 AI, and I did. But unfortunately, it took me so long to clear out the first one that, yeah, by the time I might just actually start doing the overview, when I got to the heroes, the game was broke on me. Obviously, this is a mod. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not expecting it to be perfect. So before we carry on, so these are different outpost buildings we can make. We have the most choices in outposts. We can make the Fortress of Dogul, Morgul Fortress, or just a basic outpost. I recommend getting the Morgul and Dogul Fortresses first. Only get the outpost when you feel like you don't have enough orc pits, which I feel is quite stupid. Would be quite a stupid. It would be quite a stupid reason anyway, because these orcs are better. Your Morgul orcs, your Dogul orcs are better than your Mordor orcs in every that's the word. So now that we've spent a while with Gorbag, let's switch to Shagrat. Shagrat's bonuses. Firstly, he instead of giving an orc sniffler, he gives a black orc, and the black orcs are a lot stronger than the orcs of. In fact, no, not just one. He gives several, 3 black orcs. But already you can see the major difference between Gorbag and Shagrat. Gorbag is the scout. Shagrat is the slightly stronger Orokai with what have we got? He's a slightly stronger Orc with AoE attacks. That's it.
They're attacking the camp.
So he has an AoE attack and can make more Orokai. So he is the more elite. So looking at settlements, we have 3 different choices. We have the slave farms, which reduce the cost of orcs. We have the slaughterhouse, which reduces the cost of monsters, and then the construct Kirith Ungol Barracks. You may be thinking, why make slave farms if you're just making 3 orcs? Because your pikemen and your archers are imperative. And the more of them you can make at a cheap cost, the better. They normally cost about 400 each. If you're fighting against an army of cavalry, like Rohan, yes, an army like this in the first like 5 minutes is really good, but you want to have pikemen and archers put in that list as well. And in fact, since we now hit our command limit, let's stop making those orcs. Because once we have more command points, we want to start making some heroes. So looking at the powers, I completely forgot. We have the same selection as anyone else. We have Tainted Land, is our Elven Wood, but tainted. Eye of Sauron, which is, we all know, we all love it. Reveals units, gives allies increased damage, and all leadership bonuses of enemies are nullified. And then finally, my favourite power at this tier, Endless Hordes. We're just going to show it off now. So, when it ever felt like you're just losing a couple hundred orcs, we have like lots of units. Pooh! You've now got an extra orc from all of those units that are losing orcs. Congratulations. So next, switching back to Gorbag again. Greed. The second ability of Gorbag / Shagrat, but Gorbag's greed is stronger. He gets 10 resources every time he hits an enemy building, where Shagrat only gets 5, and Shagrat's attacks are a little slower than that of Gorbag's. So now we've got some free command points, but don't want to spam out orcs. We can start getting some different choices. Nothing to note. The Sniffler / Black Orcs can only be made on ally buildings, not enemy buildings. Obviously, these Orcs will persist forever, and the Snifflers originally didn't move away from the buildings. But they've changed it so you can actually take them away from the buildings, so they act as another scout hero. If that makes sense. So then, Gothmog. He also has many abilities. His first ability, that we can show off, is Strengthen the Line. Gothmog calls upon 20 Black Orcs, so he calls upon a whole unit of Black Orokai to strengthen an Orc unit. And these persist for a while, but they cannot be controlled. So you just have them, they're there. Can't actually see them. There they are. Got them right there. The original Black Orc design from BFME 2 Rise of the Witch King. They're okay, but not to be dependent upon always. The second power we've now just got is the Reinforcements of Rune. You may think, where's our Haradrim Palace? Why can't we make the Haradrim? Are they a separate faction? I can answer all of those questions with they are powers. Easterlings and the Haradrim were too strong to be made at any time, so they changed them into powers. You can only get them through those powers. The first power, the Reinforcements of Rune, Cause permanent vassals from the distant lands of Rune which appear at the edge of the map. The reinforcements will only arrive once 120 unused command points are available. So this is a really good way to manage these. So if you have a lot of these, if you just click on this, but then you realize, oh no, I haven't got enough command points, it will wait until you've lost those command points and it will enter the map. Where they enter is normally on the close to your fortress. I don't think you can get them to just be made from some random backward corner of the world close to your opponents, because that would be a bit too easy. So moving Gothmog away so he doesn't die. And looking at Gorbag/Shagrat's third ability, compulsive cooperation. Gorbag and Shagrat are forced to work together. Temporarily, Shagrat will be called to Gorbag, who will attack nearby enemies and that get close. The text on that hasn't been altered, but it should have been, or it should be, because several things have changed. Since that ability was first introduced. Some Mordor archers as well. More Mordor archers. Actually, no, it's not together. There's 2 archers. Let's get the barracks of Kidafungal. The units of Kidafungal are the exact opposite of our Orc units in the fact that they are not free, but they cost 0 command points. You may be thinking, that's OP. It kind of is. But you are limited to only 3 of each of the units, and one of those units is restricted. You can only get them through one special way. That special way I will reveal soon. Not yet, but soon.
Keep ranks. We've been waiting on you, archers.
We've been waiting on you, archers.
There they are.
So this is the Kidafungal Barracks. Nothing to be desired, doesn't really have anything protecting it, but it can level up. That's the thing about Mordor's buildings. They level up through the good old-fashioned way, making more orcs. The more orcs you make, the more your buildings will upgrade. Same with the troll cage and the same with the great siege works, which we will both get now. So then, the main thing with this compulsive cooperation is that it's technically glitched. In that, whenever you use it, Gorbag/Shagrat will actually not temporarily be on the battlefield, but will remain permanently. At least I know how to correct the Shagrat form. The Gorbag form, it may not work. So let's test it. So let's get Gorbag and get make another Gorbag. So as you can see here, there is a timer. It is a very small timer because this is the first hero you can make. He's very cheap, very easy to get. Upgrade. Actually, very easily we can build up our economy while not really worrying about how many units we can make, because just because of the fact that the units we want to make in the most, the orcs, are free. Okay, so the Gorbag form does eventually disappear, but the Shagrat form does not. So the way to use this is to just have Gorbag and then just have him constantly make more Shagrats. Because he makes more money through his greed ability, and to be honest, the unit he can make with the level 10 ability is stronger. So this is different for Gorbag, but Shagrat's form is make a unit of Black Urukai, which is this unit. But for Gorbag, he summons a unit of the Orc Halberdiers from Kidafungal. And the Halberdiers and the Black Uruks are really good. And the Black Urukai archers are restricted because they require what's said on there, if you could get a quick glance of it, requires the influence of Sauron. Let me think, how do we get this influence? How does this thing even exist? What do we do? How do we get it? Well, the answer is very simple, my friends. And it lies in Sauron himself. You may not have noticed him for the fact it wasn't his shining golden helmet, or his eye, or his Necromancer form. But technically that is his Necromancer form right there. Not easy to tell. But that's the form he took during the Hobbit films. That's his design. Again, compulsive cooperation. There's no time on the Shagrat. He remains permanently. They may fix this in 4.5, but if they don't, I'm not really going to be miffed about it either, because it's pretty strong. It is pretty strong. So Gothmog's level 2 ability, he can ride upon his warg. Which seems pretty stupid since you have no other cavalry other than the Nazgul and the Haradrim, which you can get through the Haradrim power, which you're going to save up for now. So these are the Halberdiers. So unlike, we'll talk about you soon, Sauron, but unlike the banner carriers of all Orc units, the Halberdiers get a scout. So again, this is incentivizing the scout feature that comes with Drawbag. Again, we're going to make one of Sniffler. Now we can move readily available. We can move at our own will. Oh yes, Gothmog's another ability, Captain of the Orcs. Gothmog sends his Orcs into battle without taking their losses into consideration. Nearby Orcs deal more damage in armor and are fearless. So already the Horn of Gondor has been made redundant. Pretty good. Pretty good. Let's start making the Orc Warriors and let's make a unit of their Pikemen so we can show them off. And then let's make some Goldor Pikes so we can show them off as well. Now then, before we continue on to our heroes, a quick note for our units. So you know all their unique abilities. The Orcs of Dol, their uniqueness compared to the generic Mordor Orcs is that all their attacks are poisonous and deal more damage through that. The Orcs of Minas Morgul, which we can actually get now with all the money we've been making. Send the pikemen over there.
Get ready for fighting.
The Orcs of Minas Morgul have heavy armor and are fearless. So already they are the more elite forms of Orcs because they're armed. They're the Orcs that have they are the Orcs that attack Minas Tirith. That's it. They're the Orcs that attack assault Minas Tirith in the War of the Ring. Whereas the Dol Orcs are the Orcs that assault Dale and Erebor in the Battle of Five Armies. And Cirith Orcs are just the Orcs from Cirith Ungol, which we see in the Return of the King. So, looking for other upgrades. Upgrade you. You haven't been upgraded yet. You haven't been upgraded yet. Get you the pantry so we can get up our total. Now I'm going to use his Snagger Orc ability, so now we can make some Orc Halberdiers. As you can see, these are not permanent. They are a larger unit than that of the ordinary Cirith Ungol Halberdiers, and they do not have the ability that makes them stronger against... where are they? Because the base Cirith Ungol Halberdiers have a bonus against all units, whereas the Black Orcs have improved bonuses against heavy armor.
Attack soon.
Oh, I love that quote. I don't take orders from stinking Morgul rats. And it just hits something. It sounds like he's hitting his head on something. So again, we can get our reinforcements from Harad and now Rune from Rune and also Harad. Remembering, our powers are coming back extremely quickly. That is thanks to the tribute caps. The more of them we make, the lower our recharge time for the spell powers, our spell book powers, and that is really strong. This is the only faction that actually incorporates. In fact, no, wait, Enlarge does it as well. But we are one of the only two factions. In fact, in the beginning, we were the only faction that had recharge time reduction. We were the first faction that really really incorporated our heroes more than any other faction. So in Dol Guldur, you can get two other units. Spiders, which are just generic, pretty decent units. That are mainly a lot better against cavalry than others. And then look, here we look upon the Minas Morgul Barracks, or the fortress, when we can get only 4 units, but we can recruit the Witch King. And in Dol Guldur, we can recruit Khamul. Don't want to lose Gothmog here, so let's have him retreat. I will look at Sauron eventually. It's just he has a lot to him, and you'll also notice we have this little thing here: Ascension of Power. Complete tasks to increase Sauron's power. For each of these little things we do, Sauron grows another level. And with that, our ring wraiths, the Nazgul, and the Mouth of Sauron all gain increased strength. So then, now we can have a look at the units we get from the reinforcements from Harad. We get 2 units of Haradrim Lancers, and we get a Mumakil. So yeah, looking upon the Morgul Orcs, this is their ability, Soldiers of the Dead City. The Orcs of Minas Morgul wear heavy armor and are fearless. So they are already stronger, and they classify as wearing heavy armor. So units like the Blade Masters of Rivendell are a lot weaker against them. And then you look at the Pikemen. Oh yeah, all 3 Pikemen have the ability to go into a porcupine formation, although it's not very good. So we have a few more command points. Let's get Darkness. We all know what Darkness is. We know it. We love it. It's the AoE leadership bonus onto the entire map. So strong. Where are my spiders? I made some spiders. Where are they? Here. Their bonus is animals fear spiders, and attacking cavalry units have less speed and damage. So the point of the spiders is meant to be anti-cav. They're pikemen outside of pikemen because they can't be trampled. They can't be directly assaulted by cavalry. From their greatest strength, their charge. And then we have the archers of Minas Morgul, which again have the same effect, but they can also get fire arrows. And you'll note the Dol Guldur archers cannot get fire arrows because they have poison arrows instead, which is still fine. So now let's have a look at the last building of Outpost. So you'll note immediately, wait, these are not the same things as before. That's right, you can make from the outpost, you cannot make the tribute camps, the arsenals, or the upgraded looking siege works, the Orc Barracks, or Troll Cave. You can only make an Orc tent, which makes exactly the same things it makes exactly the same things. The only thing that's different is its design, and that just gives Mordor even more uniqueness. But instead of the arsenal and the tribute camp, the arsenal being the second building you can get here, I'm actually going to demolish my siege works here because I'm going to rebuild it up here for reasons I will talk to you about later. You can get the slave farms and the slaughterhouses you can normally only get from settlements. So already, this faction has so much diversity. Granted, it can't make many buildings, and most of their buildings do exactly the same things. But it's still nice that we have those options. It also makes the arsenals and tribute camps even more important to make in your fortress, because you can't get them anywhere else. Oh yeah, another thing, battle towers. So we're going to actually destroy that troll cave and not make that slave camp and get the troll cave here. So obviously you can see the siege works no longer has the black gate design. It's now back to its original design, and it can make the 3 general siege equipment, your battering ram, your siege tower, your catapult. I'm not going to show them off. They're exactly the same. There's no difference. The last thing, though, we're going to show off. And also, the Orc Overseers mean to show off from the Orc camp, which we can do, but it, as I said, requires the influence of Sauron. And we're not at that point yet. We're going to talk about the influence of Sauron. But yep, we can just upgrade the slaughterhouses and the slave camps exactly like as if they were on a settlement, or if it was on a fortress and it was the tribute camp or the arsenal. So now let's get the arsenal. This reduces the cost of siege equipment and units upgrades. What you'll think, what unit upgrades? That's a good answer. You only have banner carriers and fire arrows, and you can only get fire arrows after you build an arsenal and have the influence of Sauron upon an arsenal. But again, everything is linked to Sauron, and that is exactly what this faction is all about. Let's get the next Nazgul. There are 2 generic Nazgul you can make from the Citadel at either your starting fortress or any other outpost. Then there's Camor and the Witch King, which you can only make from the 2 outposts. You can't get them both from one fortress. You have to make both. Get both, which is very good as a way of balancing out the faction. And you can also get the map of Sauron. And you'll also notice we can get the King of Trolls, Moloch. But then you'll also notice, not the Sauron thing, that's just there because I think it's a glitch. Then finally the Black Riders. This is our hero battalion. All ringwraiths are bound to the will of the Dark Lord, and this recruits the remaining 5 Nazgul. Obviously, big command point costs, so they are important, but it's 5 Nazgul for the cost of 2, basically. They all share the same attacks, the same abilities, so there's no deciding you can change them around or something like that if you can't. Then you'll notice immediately this Nazgul has a different approach to this Nazgul. The only difference between the two right now is that they have he has the Morgul blade and he has the Screech. We also notice there's 2 different upgrades here. What do they do? I'm glad you asked, and they are linked to the next power I'm about to reveal. His deadliest servants enables upgrades for Kamor, the Witch King, the Dark Marshal, and the Shadow Lord. So these 2 Nazgul are the Dark Marshal and the Shadow Lord in disguise, and you can give them their the robe of the Shadow Lord, or the battle arm of the Dark Marshal, or you can make them a Ring Hunter. This names them Ring Hunter by his master. He is now able to use new abilities, mount his Fell Beast, and sense the presence of the one ring if it is nearby. If you're really desperate for the one ring to make Sauron complete, you want the Ring Hero. But I would recommend just I'm showing off what they look like. There we go. This is the Shadow Lord. Point on his mount as well. Same with the Dark Marshal. Of course, if you want to get the Fell Beasts, you can get the Ring Hunter mode. But these are what they look like on their horses, and you can't select them both together to get rid of their I forgot the name. Oh, I forgot I got you. Keep you away. They should not know of you yet. Let's get Moloch. So the Shadow Lord and the Dark Marshal, now they both have Screech and the Morgul blade. The Screech is named differently for the Dark Marshal, but it does exactly the same thing as the basic Screech. But then you'll notice they have other abilities. Firstly, the Visage of the Shadow Lord. Nearby enemies lose all leadership bonuses as well as 10% armor and damage. The nearer they are to the less damage they deal, up to 50% if they are standing directly in front of him. For each additional Nazgul, this damage and armor loss is increased. This is the same as the Presence of the Shadow Lord, except it is now just nearby enemies lose all leadership bonuses as well as 10% damage and armor and are not able to gain experience. So can't gain experience or massive evil. And then the Shadow Lord, his final ability is a passive Curse of the Shadow Lord. Although that shouldn't be available yet, it should be only available at level 10. The Shadow Lord surrounds himself with dread magic, which harms everyone who dares to attack him. 50% of any damage dealt to Shadow Lord will be reflected. So if he's got 1,000 damage, he takes 500, the opponent takes 500. Gothmog is all the way into the enemy's base, and I don't like that. Get out of there.
We're almost finished with these.
Run.
Oh, there's the halberdiers. Now I can show off see their thing. The halberds are better against infantry, cavalry, or monsters. Obviously, archers are archer class as infantry, so are pikemen. The monsters, that includes trolls, Mumakil, etc., etc. Okay, so let's get the lands while we're waiting. And let's send Sauron over here so we can show off some more stuff. And finally, from the Troll Cave, we can create the Mountain Troll. But you'll note the Drummer Troll is restricted, but only to the level 2 Troll Cage. So you'll think, how do you upgrade it? I've already said it. You wait until you have created enough units through it to get the Drummer Troll. Because obviously, Mordor is not a... I want to say limited faction, or not a faction of continuously growing infrastructure. It is a faction of just a giant horde of unstoppable creations that all serve the Dark Lord. And they all work together to wreak havoc upon the world. Then we've Gothmog. Release the prisoners. Gothmog orders the catapults to release the prisoners. Catapults have the ability to bombard the enemy with several heads for a short time. That's the only difference the normal catapult has, is that now you have to activate the ability to give them the throw skulls or severed heads ability, which gives a AoE fear, which we all know and love. His final ability is Attack Order. Gothmog orders his ult into the last charge. Nearby orcs and siege equipment gets increased damage. Suffers only 25% damage from archers and siege weapons. So that is the ultimate siege buff. It can no longer be dealt damage from siege. It can take hardly any damage from siege equipment. And imagine this with a Hammer of the Underworld, Grond. Already OP. Make it so it can't die. And it almost one-shots everything. Yeah, Gothmog is the ultimate Grond support. But again, his abilities only affect orcs and siege equipment. It will not affect your Easterlings, it will not affect the Haradrim, won't affect Trolls, a Mumakil, Nazgul, anything else in the above, it won't affect. And coming to Trolls, we have our Mountain Troll, which you can't show off the upgrades to yet, because they are limited, again, to Sauron's influence. So, let's just quickly use Sauron's influence. I'll talk about what it does more once you show off the Overseer. The Overseer is quite a unique unit. It can be equipped to, again, any Orc unit to make them stronger. It also gives them a new passive ability. It gives them an increase to attack and armor, but also gives them an ability depending on if they're a sword and board unit, a archer unit, or a pike unit. The pikemen are better against cavalry, archers better against other archers, and infantry are strong against other infantry. So they're jack of all trades. I'll try and show off one of each. Also, they cost no command points, so you can make an infinite amount of them because they cannot be used in battle. So we're going to take a sword unit, a pike unit, and a archer unit.
Second sight ordains it.
I'm just trying to stop these guys from coming in and taking my land from me. Start getting those upgrades.
Who needs my whip? For the lidless eye!
Have all these come to here, and where are those three? There they are. That's one. Where's the other two? Here.
Hurry up!
We have 3 units. We have a sword and board unit, a pike unit, and an archer unit. And as I said, they each give different upgrades. The Overseers do. Well, firstly, the Mordor Orcs get the biggest bonus of 50% attack and 50% armor. Gothmog Orcs get plus 25% attack and 50% armor. Morgul Orcs get 50% attack and 25% armor. And Ungol Orcs get the same buff. So obviously it makes Gothmog Orcs more, give them more armor, but a little less attack than the other orcs, but that's still not saying they're weak. So, as you can see, we now have the passability of the inspection, and now Crack the Whip. For 30 seconds, the orcs deal twice as much damage against melee infantry, but have less armor. For Pikemen, deals double damage against cavalry and monsters, and slows them twice as much, but again loses armor. And then the last one, once we have the last Overseer, we meet there. And you'll also notice the quotes of the unit no longer are the unit's quotes, but instead the Overseer's quotes. That's a nice add-on. So we can now get fire arrows for some reason. I don't recall upgrading the arsenal to do that, but okay. It might be because of Crack the Whip. Yeah, Crack the Whip does twice as much damage against other archers, but have less armor. So it makes them even better at what they're capable of. And that's scary. That's very scary. When you think of it from a certain standpoint. So then, Sauron. We finally got to you, Sauron. Finally got to you. I'm gonna actually no. First, Moloch, because he's the last hero that's not directly linked to Sauron. But even before that, let's get the last 2 heroes. So Moloch. His first ability is Rage. Goes into a wild rage for 40 seconds. Every 8 seconds his damage is increased. So the longer his rage is increased, he slowly turns more red and does more damage. It's okay, but he can't use other abilities while doing so. Then he can switch his weapon between his hammer and his sword. So he's similar to Bard in the fact that he has 2 different melee weapons instead of 2 ranged weapons. The sword does high AoE attack, high area effect damage, and high damage against units, and a hammer is smaller AoE attack but does better damage against buildings. His next ability is Shatter, or Shatterer. Moloch launches a terrible attack against the enemy structure, damaging it and disabling it for 1 minute. So exactly like Glowin's Shake Foundation from the original BFME 2, but with it being on a troll, so it's slightly stronger. Then we've got the leap, or the Trogs. The trolls. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Moloch leaps in another position and does an area damage. So just imagine him saying "catch Rogash" while he's doing it, and you'll think, oh, this is Rogash's ability. It is. It's basically Rogash's ability from Angmar, back in the good old days.
We're not stopping here. Keep going.
So then his final ability, Assault Trolls. Moloch summons 3 trolls from the Troll Shores who get gear various dependent. The gear is dependent upon what Moloch is wielding. So they'll have swords if Moloch is wielding his swords, but they'll have hammers if he's wielding hammers. So if you need good unit clear, you want to have your sword. If you want to deal damage against buildings, you want to wield your hammer, and this is what it looks like. His attack animation changes to him doing an overhead attack instead of a sword attack. So you can actually see the difference in the actual area of effect as well. Just when his sword from his swing, this hammer pummel. Oh, that's just annoying. And the Witch King. Again, we'll come to later. I forgot. I need to look at other guys first. So yeah, Moloch is quite a dependable hero. We also note he's actually because he's a troll, he's actually weaker against pikemen than you'd think he should be. That makes me worry about him even more. I just realised we completely forgot about the 2 elite units we can make. Where are the Castellans? So we can show them both off. They are dead. Let's make them again. So our first elite unit we can only make from Minas Morgul, and the only cavalry unit we actually have in the game that we don't have through through our powers from Harad. So the Morgul Riders. Their first ability is the Minas Morgul's Vanguard. Morgul Knights lose less speed when trampling units when they are weakened by a ring spirit, and that's all the ring wraiths. Dark Marshal, Shadow Lord, Witch King, Camul, and the Black Riders. And sorry for that, but that is Camul's voice line. Apparently they thought that was a smart idea. Yep, I don't know what they were thinking. So yeah, the Vanguard are meant to be quite tough in their charges, because they are your only cavalry, so they need to be good. If they're not good, then they're not doing the job. Being your only cavalry. So what next? I already lost where I was. Oh yes, the Castellans of Dol Guldur are there, and the second ability of the Riders is gained at level 6. The Morgul Riders will return as spirits of the Shadow World if they die. What that means, I'll tell you about later, because you only get to see them through the Morgul Blade. So then, Red Vitiation. The Castellans drain the ground of all life. They cannot drain the same patch of ground twice. If an enemy unit walks on the drained ground, they become poisoned. Ability isn't available if a charge attack is executed. So basically, let's just show it. There we go, and that land now poisons nearby enemy units that go into it. And then they get a new ability on top of that. They unleash the vitality, and for 20 seconds they gain increased armor and damage. Then, so yeah, the Castellans are quite different to the Morgul Riders in the fact these are run fast and far units that are constantly trampling, disrupting the enemy formation. These are our staying unit that does massive damage. And you'll notice has the crown of the Lich King from World of Warcraft, which I do find hilarious when I look at it now. And then the level 5 ability, the Curse of the Necromancer. The Castellans are immune to any kind of magical, poison, and elemental damage. So, while this is effect, it works against the Galmbori, the Wazers of or if we got the Wazzers of Rohan. It works well against, obviously, other units of Dol Guldur. Magic, so that includes Gandalf, Saruman, Radagast, the 2 blue wizards, whatever they are in the game. I can't even remember where they are. And elemental damage includes just fire, ice, so that's good against fire attacks, fire arrows, frost damage from Angmar's, ice arrows. Yeah, it's a very decent. Again, just saying that these are tanks. These guys are real tanks. They have, each of them have almost 2,000 health at level 1, and the Morgul Riders only have 1,600 at level 2.
For the lidless eye!
So we've got a few power points now, so we're going to prepare a Power of Past Ages, but we'll only show it off once we've shown off all of this form of Sauron, which we require some more things for. We require some more trolls, is the first one. Destroy this siege equipment. So then, Sauron. This is his Necromancer form, and he has 2 forms to this form. His Shadow form and his Fire form. We're going to show off everything about the Shadow form before we show off the Fire form. So in his Shadow form, he has his passive power, slaves to his will. The Necromancer grows stronger through completion of certain tasks. He cannot die, but will become a wandering shadow upon death and can rejoin battle after recovering. So once he dies, he doesn't get sent back to the forest, so we have to recruit him again. You don't have to pay any more money for him. Instead, you have to wait for him to come back. His first power after that, he is a small just escape or engage ability. Although it should never be used as an engage, it should be always an escape or a way to claim the ring. Next is Influence of Sauron. As you can see, this is a lot to read, so I'm going to let you. So I'm just going to hold this here for a few seconds and let you pause it so you can read all of it, because I'm going to try and remember each and every one of them. So for every single building, except for the Citadel buildings, you can build different upgrades. Your buildings, and these basically unlock what Mordor is capable of. The Slaughterhouse allows trolls to come out at level 2. In the Troll Cage, you can get armor for your cave trolls, which we're now going to show off. Influence of Sauron. Upgrade the Troll Cave. Upgrade the Troll Cave. Upgrade the Troll Cave. You'll notice him doing it when he...
We're under attack!
Oh, maybe not. I break the game. Not show off the armor. Or can it only be done... Oh... Wait, no, that shouldn't be right. Let's use it on the siege works instead, then. In the cave troll, doesn't... Oh, wait, because it's got something recruiting, of course. You can only do it on a building that's not doing anything. If the building is doing something, I don't believe it can be... you can't attach influence to it. I think it can cause a game glitch. Or not. Either way. The influence of Sauron. The first one to know is the barracks. As I showed already, you can get the overseers from the barracks once you have given it Sauron's influence. Giving it to a siege works will allow you to... You'll notice he does his hands up gesture, like his praise the sun. The siege works, you can get the troll catapult, which is exactly the same as the troll catapult from Angmar, but instead of frozen shots, it fires. Or I forgot what it does. It fires flaming boulders. That's it. The tribute camps, the units from Rune Harad. So you attach your influence to one of these buildings. Your reinforcements from Rune and Harad will always come with heavy armor and forged blades from now on. As you can see here, they look just basic. They don't have any real armor on them. They get real armor once they get the influence. On the arsenals, you can make fire arrows. Siege works, the troll catapults, battle towers. You give all your battle towers. So the only way to do is you can't do it on one of your small towers. It has to be a big tower. That's why I made it. So yeah, you can give an influence to a big tower, and now all your other small towers will have fire arrows. Again, a very neat ability. Next is the slave camp. So all Orc hordes with overseers do more damage. So that only comes from the slave farms, not the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse gives all mountain trolls start at level 2. Fortress of Minas Morgul, Ghosts of the Shadow Realm may now be enslaved, which we're actually going to look for next, because that's another unit in the game that's hidden away. And we can only get through Sauron. But in the Fortress of Dogwood Door, the spiders that we were making in the past, and now they normally cost 300. We made them cost 0. We can make them for free from the fortress with the influence of Sauron. For the barracks, we enabled the recruitment of the Black Orc Archers. And then finally, oh wait, that's it. So Arsenal, upgraded allies, Overseers, Fire Arrows, Orc Archers, free Spiders, Troll Armor, Troll Catapults, Overseers do more damage. Trolls come out level 2. Fire arrows can be purchased for your archers. You can enslave spirits of the other world. And yeah, that's all of them. So yeah, Sauron is the very center of your faction. You can't. You're limited by losing 3 different units. You're losing money from making the spiders. You're not able to make fire arrows for your archers, so they're not stronger. You can't make an even better catapult than the Mordor catapults. You can't give your trolls troll armor, so they're stuck like this. You can't give them stones. You can't give them trees. All their upgrades are limited only to their armor. And in fact, getting rid of the tribute camp here, we're going to try and get the troll cave. Give us the upgrades from here. Once we have time. That's the thing. The influence comes back after a very small time, and it's only at level 3 you get it. So all you have to do is get 2 of these quests done, and you can start using the influence and get massive power bonuses. Obviously, we've been holding off a bit on our influence, so I can talk about everything else and not get tongue-tied. So now, using influence of Sauron on the Morgul Fortress, you'll notice when someone's got the influence of Sauron by the 2 banners. Whenever you've got the banners on one of your buildings, that's a way to know that you've got the influence of Sauron there already.
They're attacking the slaughterhouse. Put the trolls right in pieces.
So then, his last 2 powers. Dark Swabs. The Necromancer summons a dark cloud for 30 seconds. All enemies and allied units in the radius lose half of their armor. Heroes and monsters get half of the debuff. At level 7, I can make some Barrow Wights. And at level 10, the cloud is able to move after being summoned. So yeah, you get 3 Wights. These are not the units we get. I'm going to say this now. These are Barrow Wights. These are not the slaves we can get from the... These are not the same as the things we get from enslaving the spirits of the other world. I'm saying that now so you guys know, because there's a big difference. The Barrow Wights are just a unit, are a unit of Angmar. The fact we can get them is the fact that we are literally related to Angmar. And then there's a Dark Cloud, which is very nice. I see it moving around as well, so that's a pretty big debuff for everything, even our own guys. And then Might of the Damned can be used on any Mordor unit excluding heroes. A target units. It says unit. It should be units because it can target more than 1 unit. We fill with necromantic power and will be expelled upon their death, dealing more damage. The more powerful that unit is, you give the bonus to, the more power will be released when they die. We've now reached level 10, so we can just show off Gothmog, giving all orcs a bonus. It's a red eye under them, so it's very easy to see. It's not exactly hard to see. Yeah, this final ability is pretty good with your orcs. Just have them get surrounded, and then it's like a bomb. It's like a literal bomb just goes off. So then, we show off the shadow form. Let's have a look at the fire form. So in his fire form, he does not attack. Instead, he just burns nearby enemies around him. In his shadow form, he does a small AoE attack from afar. And you can already see he doesn't get his influence of Sauron on this tier. He gets 4 different powers. His first one is Eruption, which is a small AoE knockback effect, which is really effective. You get it at level 2, so that's very strong. Burning Prison traps heroes within it for 15 seconds. Obviously, not so he can go to them one-on-one because he has no way of attacking them. And his wall of fire is similar to the oil spill, if it was working. Basically, there should be fire here. There should be fire that if enemies walk through, it damages them, but not allies. Does not hurt allies, and my throat is already getting... Yeah, drink. Oh, I'm already feeling better. So its final ability, at level 10, Ruler of Fire. Sauron unleashes a mighty heat wave in all directions. Hit allied heroes, and monsters. Gain resistance to fire for 30 seconds. Enemies lose that 75% more vulnerable to fire. So, lovely little animation. So now, while he's in his fire form, his fire attacks and he does his AoE for being in his fire form will do more damage. Obviously, I do prefer his shadow form, just because you can use the influence of Sauron. So let's get the influence to Troll Cave, and let's show off the troll gain upgrades. There's 3 different upgrades the trolls can get. I'm going to show off each and every one of them. God damn, this is annoying. Oh, Sauron, you get that influence over there right now. You dare make me tell you again. There we go, got the banners. So first, the first upgrade you need to get is the troll armor, which costs 400, and we lost the citadel and our siege works. God damn it! Why are you in melee? Why are you not firing? Oh yeah. Yep. And now there's 3 different upgrades. You have the hammer, the assault mace, which I'm going to pick for this guy. The assault mace is a bigger AoE attack. Sword does more damage against units and heroes and monsters, and the siege hammer is damage against structures. So, there's my last troll. Has he died already? I know he's there. You're going to get the hammer, and you're going to get the sword. Change back to his fire form as Eruption. Slow them down, don't let them destroy the building. You've got the hammer, and you've got the sword. All of these trolls each have different abilities now. The first one, the sweeping strikes. For 10 seconds, the swings of the troll's club has a greater area, which has a nice little red aura. Vicious swipes. For 10 seconds, the troll's sword strikes do not only knock back enemy units, but also other trolls and heroes. Again, is that little AoE. Last one, splintering blows. For 10 seconds, the troll hammer's blows disable all buildings that attacks them. So, 3 very dangerously powerful abilities. They each are very unique. God damn it, they destroyed my slave farm. Oh, that's annoying. Those are all the trolls. Except for the drummer troll, which is exactly the same as it is in BFME 2, but we're going to show it off anyway, because that's what I do. Let's get every other power on the sun, except for the hammer of the underworld. We're going to get that eventually, though. So looking at the rest of the powers I just bought, got Terror of Kidafungal, we can summon Shelob. We have Call the Horde, which does increase the production speed of all orcs. Not just your Mordor orcs, but also your Morgul orcs, your Dol Guldur orcs, and your Kidafungal orcs. In fact,
open the doors to
yep.
the great siege work. You horde of orcs.
in the mountain numbers. So then, that's all of base Sauron's ability. Sauron has 4 forms technically. His shadow form, his fire form, and his next form is his Power of Past Ages form, where he becomes Gorthauer the Great. And this is a small way because it is meant to attack only, trigger only on Sauron. And after a while, he turns back into his fair form, regaining his flesh and becoming that of a beautiful, well, an ish guy. And this form of Sauron is basically a hero killer, but also very similar to Sauron, where he's got his influence. He's still got his own influence of Sauron. No differences there. His influence remains the same through all of his forms, but he always has it. So don't worry about accidentally making him go ring form Sauron and forgetting he doesn't have influence. But before we look at his transformation Palantir, because there's quite a few here, 3 different transformations. Technically 4 because there's when he gets the ring, but his first ability is Blade of Destiny. The attacks have a 33% chance to release the full power of his Blade of Destiny, and that's an AoE around him.
They're attacking over here.
So just gets a dark aura, and then every time you hear like a weird sound, that's when you know he's using his getting that bonus. When he does that, that's his new look for his influence ability. His next ability, Pillar of Flame. Gothmog creates a Pillar of Flame which can be controlled for 10 seconds. This is selected at level 5. They're very similar to the Tornadoes of Galadriel and Elrond. Doesn't last nowhere near as long because this is only a 3rd form. But he can also make Tor in Gorhoth. Gothmog uses his power to corrupt the landscape and to revive his castle from the First Age. Werewolves can be bred from in the castle, and the fortress heals fellow units and provides leadership to them. Enemy units around the fortress will be weakened and damaged over time, and it also shoots lightning from around the fortress. That's right, there's even more units we didn't even know about, and it has 3 different upgrades. Very similar to that of the base game upgrades. You've got your Doom Pies, we already thought what he did. I think that's just a leadership bonus now. And the Lava Moat, which increases melee vulnerability.
This fellow ain't dead.
And where were we? And then the no, that's the Morgul Fortress. Yeah, Torn Gorhoth. First, it looks like the original Mordor Fortress of BFME 2. The Magma Cauldrons allows the fortress to pour burning lava on nearby enemy units. So his upgrades are very similar to that of the Border Stronghold of Mordor, but you can only make 1 of them as well, just to be mentioned. You cannot have more than 1 of these fortresses at once.
Abandon this petty
but yeah, you can construct it anywhere, like it was a Dwarven Citadel. Now let's look at Gothmog's Werewolf. And this is exactly the same design as the giant Crash Bandicoot looking wolf of Angmar's hero power back in BFME 2 Rise of the Witch King, and he has the Devour ability. So exactly the same as Angmar's Werewolf that they can make, but it has a slightly cooler look, and I think it's stronger too. 5,000 health, yeah, he's definitely stronger. Plus 2,000 too. These things are very powerful. So now it's time to look upon his different forms. We had even more powers. I forgot, he doesn't have 4 forms. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forms. He is a hero of heroes. So this is his first form, is Call of the Vampires, where he turns into a storm of bats. His first power is to return to Gothmog, the Scholar of Erle. Then his second ability is Leech. Gothmog and his vampires slowly drain the vitality of all nearby enemies. So that's basically a lifesteal ability. For those that don't understand what that means. Darkness Skies. Gothmog calls upon another swarm of vampires to the target area. Enemy units cause less damage underneath the swarm. So just summon the swarm, you can't control it, it's just there. Yeah, Gothmog moves around as if it was a cloud of bats. And that's the bat swarm. Next is on Black Wings. The swarm of vampires temporarily flies faster. And let's look at that red. Why can't it just be red to start with anyway? And then it's level. So yeah, all these powers as well come at different levels. So even if he's not at level 10, which we are at now, but if he wasn't, you'd actually have to upgrade him to still get these powers. Then at level 7, the vampires release the vitality of nearby enemies, restoring their own. So just quick, nice blood splatter. And you'll also notice this form cannot be changed back into his ordinary form for a good time. You are stuck as this form for a while, so pick the form you choose wisely. Although, to be honest, his werewolf form and his vampire forms are a bit niche. The whole purpose of them is just to give Gothmog to make him lore appropriate. That's about it. Other than that, he is just they are again just niche powers that he gets. But again, I'm showing off anyway because that's what I do. So since we got some time to kill, the Drummer Troll gives leadership, damage, armor, and fear resistance, and it can roar. But no longer does this nice little AoE, so you cannot tell directly if it's roaring or not, unless you look at it directly. Which is important to note. For those that are new against playing against new or who are new, who have started playing this mod, coming from BFME 2 and not knowing why you can't see the AoE of the drummer troll. So we can now transform back into Gothmog, but this also has to be a position ability. He casts a flying unit, and then he comes back. All his powers are not refreshed; they've just come back over time. Got the influence again. Let's use the influence of Sauron on the arsenal, so we can get fire arrows for our archers. Nice, we just got it for range. So as you can see, his other powers do take a while to come back as well. But let's have a look at what the others do. The Lord of Werewolves. Sauron created horrid beasts in his castle, which eventually received the name Isle of Werewolves. They transformed into a mighty werewolf. And then it's also his Anatar form. Again, need to drink. My throat is killing me today. Ugh. He can't attack or be attacked and can freely walk among his enemies, but his abilities grant them bonuses. Because basically, for those that don't know who Anatar is, Anatar is the Lord of Gifts. He is the form Sauron took to persuade Celebrimbor to forge the Rings of Power. Gorbag just died to a hobbit. I feel very ashamed right now. Oh, I've got all of these guys here. All free upkeep I will add as well. They cost no command points. Makes them even stronger.
They are not worthy.
And I'm just going to mention this. Even though we've got to Gothmog and all that, we're still nowhere near done. We've still got the Mouth of Sauron, the Dark Marshal, Camul, the Black Riders, and the Witch King to show off. In fact,
What do you profit from this defiance?
yeah, while we're waiting for Gothmog's ability to come back, we're going to have a quick look at Mouth of Sauron. His first ability is Mount or Dismount. While it's dismounted, he can perform his Morgul Sorcery ability, which he can only use at level 4. And this is just a corrupted lightning sword. Then the Dark Veil. The Mouth of Sauron coats a building with dark mist, which confuses enemy units. Enemies near the building are stricken with madness and fear fight against allies. So it's not just your... the Mouth of Sauron can literally put a descent onto one of your buildings. Put that on something like Dol Guldur, where they're also getting dealt poison damage. Imagine how quickly that's gonna kill them off. The Mouth of Sauron's busted, but this is a level 6 power. I will again say, just so it makes sense. How can he use a level 4 power if he can't get level 4? Because it requires the Necromancer to be level 4. It requires Sauron to have that level. The Mouth of Sauron, the Dark Marshal, the Black Riders, Camul, the Witch King, and the Shadow Lord. Their level is the level of the Dark Lord. That's how it's always been in Edain, even 3.8. So now we've got Gothmog's recharged back. Let's have a look at him in his form of a werewolf. He is slightly bigger than the average werewolf. He is pitch black with white gleaming eyes. And his burst ability is Claws of Evil. Gothmog's claws attacks hits all enemies in a small radius but tears deep wounds into the primary target. These wounds will bleed for 5 seconds, continually draining health.
We're under attack.
So again, that's really strong. That's a lifesteal ability on just a basic passive. Then he's got the Relentless Hunt. Gothmog can briefly trample enemies without being slowed. Then he's got Bite of the Whale. Gothmog heavily damages an enemy hero and briefly lowers their attack speed, movement speed, and ability recharge time by 25%. You're disabling a very powerful hero like Gandalf from using Word of Power, and so on and so forth. And then when he reaches level 7, Bloodthirst, Gothmog howls and increases damage and the damage of nearby werewolves by 50%. So yeah, again, this form is rather niche. Yes, the AoE lifesteal is very strong, but it's not strong enough to give it actually give it credit. It's just too weak. Oh, I forgot to mention you can unleash a vampire bat swarm, which does act like the cave bats. It doesn't actually say what it does. But I'm fairly certain all it does is give another debuff to units around the swarm. I'm not seeing it anywhere else right now. Yeah, in this form, Gothmog is as fast as a cavalry unit. I guess that is another bonus, but that's the same as in his vampire form. He can just... Oh yeah, that lightning, that was from here. This building now shoots lightning. How OP is that? And you can see the nice little blood stains coming from Gothmog's victims. And lightning striking down upon them. Yeah, Gothmog, Sauron is the strongest hero in the game, without a doubt. And then we can just, now Power Passage has come back, we can use it again. But all it does is the AoE. It's just, all it does now is a small AoE effect. It doesn't change him back into... if he's already in his Gothmog form, he won't change back to his original form. But if he is not in his Gothmog form, and that I mean if he's not his Werewolf, Lord of Gifts, or Vampire, or this form, if he's in his Shadow or Fire form, he will return to being Gothmog the Lord, the Scholar of Erle. So his last form is Annatar the Lord of Gifts. This form is not as bad as the other two. This form is actually... I actually remember being told that this form was banned. Was banned from use in PvP because of how stupidly OP it was. In defense formation, he can keep gates open. He can disable buildings. He is OP. He is a new form of OP in his Annatar form. Obviously, he's not overpowered in the fact that he can do a lot of damage. He's overpowered in the fact that he can disable everything. Weaken enemy units. Make them doubt themselves. So on and so on. He is... Oh, it's terrifying. But yeah, Gothmog, his Annatar form was actually banned from from use in tournaments. Just because of the fact that it was just so stupidly strong. Obviously, his Sauron form, when he claims the ring, that's meant to be OP because he just claimed the ring. He's just become the Lord of the Earth again. There's nothing that can stop him. He plays fire arrows thanks to my little friend. Oh yeah, Gothmog cannot transform into Annatar if he is in battle. He has to. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm a good guy, don't kill me," if you're doing it while you're still showing as a bad guy. That's not how it's going to work. That influence of Sauron just on here, so we can show off a troll coming out as level 2. Morgul Riders get out of there. We're nowhere near done yet. I still have so much to show off, but I have so little. I feel like I have so little time because I feel like the game could break on me at any moment.
The enemy is on us.
So our Annatar's preparing for his final form. Let's go back to the map of Sauron. His final ability in this Palantir is the Evil Eye. We all know it, but it's locked at level 8 because of how strong it is. It is a hero killer move, basically. It's not meant to be a one shot, one kill attack, but it can turn into that. It is that strong. It's that good. I feel like I've missed out talking about Moloch, but I've already talked about him. Back to the map of Sauron. So he's got a second Palantir, which does different poses of his mouth. His first one, Words of Delusion. The map of Sauron blinds his enemies with false words. Temporary enemies in target area have only half the sight and range. Also affects siege equipment, but not monsters. Monsters are too dumb to be delusioned by the words of the Dark Lord's voice, his mouth. Then he's got Doubt. Enemies in the target area lose half their speed, and cavalry slows down twice as much while crushing through enemies. Originally, Doubt used to be a debuff, but obviously that on top of the Nazgul will be just 100% loss of damage and armor. Then Descent, we all love it from BFME 2. Targets start fighting each other. And then finally, Words of Misery. The Master Sauron convinces enemy heroes that they are in a hopeless fight, causing them to great misery and badly damaging their morale. Target enemy heroes deal half damage for the duration of the ability. So yeah, that's... So against a hero like... if you were, for some reason, deciding to... Sauron... Mordor versus Mordor, and you had Sauron, and even does his Gothmog form, he does 657 damage at level 10. Half of that will be gone, while he's been being doubted by the mouth of Sauron. So now, we've looked at the mouth of Sauron, so let's look at Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. He forms out of a pure elf. And is actually does look very nice. It looks like that. Looks the vision of a fair elf. And we're about to look through all of his abilities, because this is, as I said, his greatest form. Even so great, he had to change his portrait from Gothmog. He no longer looks like Gothmog anymore. His first ability, the Lord of Gifts. The false teachings of Anatar allows nearby units to gain experience twice as fast, but reduce their armor by 25%. That is nearby units, allies, and enemies. His next ability, Spoil Suggestions. Enemy units in the target area become dazzled by the gifts of Anatar. They fight for Anatar for the next 30 seconds and receive increased damage and armor. Left click and left click on the target units. So if we just do that on like a siege equipment, I don't think it does anything. I can't be sure. I test it. Oh yeah, it works. Okay, so yeah, now this trebuchet has increased values and now works for us for more time. Then, Armistice. This is the ability that's busted. All units and heroes on the entire map cannot attack for 30 seconds. During this time, enemy resource structures produce more resources. Oh no, no, it's not. It's the Hour of Extinction. So Armistice. Use it. Everyone becomes stronger. Oh no, everyone cannot attack. Now, all of these guys... So basically, this is a time of peace. Anatar declares a time of peace, although for some reason this battering ram does not seem... This trebuchet doesn't seem to know that.
Let us don't waste time.
But yeah, but of course, by doing this, enemies do produce more resources. This is a tad unfortunate. And you may also notice he cannot attack. And he has no health bar. Because in this form he is untouchable. So this last power, Anatar sheds his mask and begins the siege of the enemy fortress. All the gates in a wide radius are opened, and catapults and battle towers on enemy walls are temporarily inoperative. During this time, enemy recruitment structures train troops at double speed. So again, it's a massive buff to an enemy that's about to get attacked, and they need more units. But if it just means they can't close the gates. Let's do it. But it turns the gate red. It would turn trebuchets and battle towers on the walls red. But now they can train faster.
Before it's too late. Stay where you are. Keep going.
Get out. Yeah, that's Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. So let's just return to his Gothmog state. And now we need to search for the ring. It's somewhere. I need to find it.
Don't waste time.
The Eye of Sauron shouldn't be too hard.
They're attacking us.
Let us ease their pain.
But while we're searching for the ring, let's now look at the remaining Nazgul. The first one is the Dark Marshal. This first ability, Presence of the Dark Marshal. Nearby enemies lose all leadership bonuses as well as 10% damage and armor and are not able to gain experience. Each time an additional Nazgul in the area, the damage and armor lost increases by 5%. You'll notice several things from this. It has Presence of the Dark Marshal. So each of these Nazgul have different presence abilities, and each of them are unique, but they also add up together. So if you look at the Shadow Lord's ability, nearby enemies lose all leadership bonuses as well as 10% damage and armor. The nearer they are, the less damage they deal, up to 50%. So it's not reducing the armor more, but it's reducing the damage more, up to 50%. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculously strong. Next, they've got the Morgul Blade and the Screech. The Morgul Blade doesn't do any different than the Dark Marshal's Morgul Blade. The Morgul Blades and the Screech are exactly the same. They're just named differently. Let's look at the Dark Marshal's final ability, Massacre. I'm still using it on my own units, even though it's not recommended. Projects such sheer terror into the minds of those around him that their armor seems to do nothing. All enemy nearby units can be killed by just one melee attack. So yeah, I'll just allow this entire army to get killed by an arrow volley. Think about that trying to sleep tonight. I am evil. And then the Shadow Lord's ability is Curse of the Shadow Lord. The Shadow Lord surrounds himself with dreadful magic which harms everyone who dares to attack him. 50% of that damage is dealt back to them. I feel like I've already said this. I can't remember because I've done this so many times now. I've actually forgotten if I've already said this or not. But yeah, Shadow Lord's ability is pretty good.
The whip teaches.
Next are the Black Riders. These have unique abilities as well. First, they've got the basic Dread Visage. They have no bonuses to their Dread Visage. It's just Dread Visage. They lose all leaderships and minus 10 damage, minus 10 armor, and that's increased for every other Nazgul around them. Then you've got Morgul Blades, and then you've got the Screech. But this ability is only for these 5. The Black Breath is a terrible poison which the Nazgul exude. Upon activation, all nearby foes will be continuously poisoned. And it has happened. This is a Lesser Wraith, a being that has been created into the world from a Morgul Blade. And once you have given the influence of Sauron to a Minas Morgul fortress, you can transform it into... you can enslave it and ban it to the ordinary world. Neither dead nor alive does it morph into a Morgul shadow, which are able to dwell into the souls of other beings. And these have a very unique ability which affects the Wraiths. The life of Morgul Shadow is bound to the will of the Ring Wraiths. Any life the Morgul Shadow loses will be transferred to nearby Nazgul. That is really strong. That is really, really, really strong. Because you can get a lot of those. Before this, I managed to get about 50 Morgul Shadows. That's ridiculous. That's a redonkulous amount of shadows right there. That's redonkulous amounts. But it's so strong. The Touch of Blackness, I don't know why it's called that. It should be just called Black Breath. Upon activation, even though it doesn't seem to be used. Oh well. Oh, there we go. There we go, here we go. Try and use it now. There we go. All these units are now poisoned. And that continues for a few seconds, and then the poison eventually leaves as if it was ordinary poison. So next, come all, prepare for loud quotes. Oh no, it's saying Shire. So his Dread Visage, well this is his ordinary form. Peril of the Nazgul. Camel terrifies the residents of an enemy building into submission, which disables the building and causes it to share vision with Camel for a whole minute. That's pretty good. Then he's got a Morgul Blade, and then he's also got his insignias of the Lieutenant. So he claims his form as he did in the Hobbit films, and some of his powers change. Firstly, his passive ability is now Camel's Presence. Camel's Presence terrifies and weakens nearby enemies, as well as rotting wood, crackling stone, and rusting metal, damaging buildings over time passively.
Let's go to the Great Eye.
So he doesn't give a negative buff. He damages buildings. That is extremely strong. Actually, no, it's not as strong as I say it is, but that's still cool. That's still really, really cool that he damages buildings passively. Then he's got Dol Guldur access. Camel sends dark magic from Dol Guldur against an enemy buildings. Now it's 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. And serves as the eyes of Camel's eyes and ears. I think what that means is he can see stealth through the area as well. Then he's got his Morgul Blade, so he doesn't Screech because he has another ability. Vassals of the Ring Wraith. Camel, the Shadow of the East, permanently summons a troop of Black Easterlings to the battlefield, a limit of 3. Nice dwarven. Oh. And these are the Black Easterlings. Look exactly, they even look like dwarves. Wearing black, great hammers, wielding. Well, look like they've got ox hooves on their helmets. But another thing about Camul, I'm fairly certain, you can point him onto his mount, or his horse, but you can also point him onto his winged, his mount, you can mount his fell beast, that's it. You can mount upon his fell beast. But I don't think this changes any of his abilities. Oh no, he can no longer perform his Morgul Blade ability. So yeah, the only thing that weakens him in this form is that he's now weak against arrows, but he also can't use his Morgul Blade, but he does an AoE attack, and he doesn't take damage to from Pikemen anymore. Then the Witch King, in his base form, he is very different. He is the most unique of all the Nazgul. Firstly, his Dread Visage is that doesn't just increase his the debuff, which is against enemy heroes. They lose damage and armor as well. But the Witch King and all of the Nazgul in range get increased movement speed, vision range, and damage. And then there's his Wraith form. The Nazgul casts off his robe, becoming invisible to naked eye. While in this form, he cannot attack or be attacked, but can use some, still cast some abilities, but can only do this while on foot. Can't do this while on his mount or his fell beast. Morgul Corruption is his Morgul Blade. Stab the wearer. If the unit dies while the unit is the effect is active. Oh wait, stab the target enemy with Morgul Blade, poison them over time. If the unit dies while the effect is active, they'll become lesser wraith, which are invisible and cannot be attacked or attacked. So yeah, it's the same as every other Morgul Blade. So I'm first saying because of the Witch King's Morgul Blade, it's stronger and does more damage. And then there's his Lordship of Minas Morgul, and he becomes the Witch King of Angmar, donning his helmet and his weaponry from the war. And now his Visage of the Witch King, which is exactly the same as it was in his Dread Visage. It just sounds different. It's got a different name. And his Wraith form is exactly the same. So his powers when he's on foot are a Terrifying Malice, Wraith form, and Hour of the Witch King. The Lord of the Minas Morgul rises his sword and sets it aflame. He fires a shockwave which burns all his enemies. For a short time, this tainted magic causes his sword to continue burning, causing him a large boost of damage and attack speed. Strong versus heroes, but only when he can only do this when all mounted. And does this. And you may think that's just a cool aesthetic. That is an AoE as well. That is an AoE knockback upon enemies. I can see we've got some more Wraiths. Let's turn them into Morgul Shadows, which will heal our Nazgul. So again, the Witch King can go from on foot to his horse, and his Wraith form changes to become his Screech. Oh yeah, Terrifying Malice. Target enemies' special ability timers are reset to just used. That is a staple of the Witch King. He is the hero disabler. And then his specific Screech is more terrifying than any other Nazgul's. And then, of course, he can mount his Fell Beast as well. Also, another thing to mention, the Shadow Lord and the Dark Marshal, they can, if you choose their Ring Hunter forms, they can give them their Fell Beasts. But if you make them the Dark Marshal and the Shadow Lord, they are just better overall. Although right now I wish I did have the Ring Hunter's abilities, just so I could find Gollum. Because I want Gollum. I can't remember where he stays. Okay, we found Gollum. Everyone engage. There he is. He's there. I don't care about everything else. So we've seen all of Gorfaur's forms. We've seen all his power. Well, that is only the beginning. This form of Sauron is the greatest form he can muster. But not just that. In this form, he no longer does a Palantir of powers like this. No, he doesn't. That's not enough space for him. He needs a lot more than that. He is the Lord of the Ring. He deserves to be the most powerful being on the earth when he has the ring. And that is exactly what he becomes. In more ways than one. Firstly, these are now all his powers. We can still create Tolin Gorhoff. But other than that, you'll see only two other powers from the past. His Influence of Sauron and his Might of the Damned. But other than that, all of these powers are brand new. The Tolin Gorhoff, Might of the Damned, and Influence of Sauron are the only powers that persist through his forms. And this is his final form. This is ultimate form. He's gone Super Saiyan Blue on us all. No, Super Saiyan God. Oh, I had to make the reference. You know I had to make the reference.
Over here.
He's reached his final form. And the best thing is he can't even be selected with the army anymore. He is a sole survivor. Let's have a look at his powers. This first one, Lord of Mordor. All the power in Mordor comes from the Lord of the Rings. Sauron grows stronger through completion of certain tasks. He cannot die, but will become a wandering shadow upon death. The nods on the mouth of Sauron's power, that's the same as when he's the Necromancer. But now as an activated ability, all units that sustain as casualty near Sauron will soon receive replacements from Mordor's inexhaustible hordes. All enemy leaderships and bonuses effects are nullified when near to Sauron. Oh, that is actually a passive. It just doesn't show it correctly. Okay. Then we all remember his terrifying malice, which is now renamed Burning Eye. Sauron's glare extinguishes the light of hope in the heart of his foes and replaces it with fear and despair. Then we've got his influence. Power of Vitality. Sauron heals his wounds with the blood of his slain enemies and the accursed dark sorcery of Mordor. Instantly heals 50% of Sauron's total health. You can't tell me that's not OP, right? In fact, everything that's remaining here, Sauron can take it down on his own. So, we've now got the Master Ring. Sauron uses the One Ring to confuse the hearts and minds of his enemies. Target enemies will temporarily be temporarily converted. It has a very large cast range. And it's not dreaming that either. That could be an entire army you steal. Just to kill some heroes. Because it will never steal heroes. It will still steal units. Then he's got his Might of the Damned, which does exactly the same as it used to do. Obviously, Sauron's attack. Slightly bigger AoE than his original BFME 2 form, but still just as beautiful. In fact, I think it's an area around him instead of just in front of him. The next is his Power of the Maiar. We all know what the Flame of Orodruin do. Well, this is what it looks like now. Very strong AoE. I do not recommend it against buildings though. That did not do much against the buildings at all. Then his Consuming Darkness. Sauron uses its dark magic to create a black magical vortex which draws enemies into its center and devours them. It doesn't actually do any damage though, it's the nose. It does not do damage, but it does send everyone, I mean everyone, into a constant knockback formation. Then his last power, and it even says in there, when activated, Sauron will be the most powerful unit in the entire game. Dark Will. If Sauron uses all his might, no one is capable of standing against him in battle. For a short time, he gets an enormous boost to attack and armor. His speed and attack speed are increased by 50%. Let's just have a look at the animation for this. It's a quick animation too. And then you just see the light around him. He just AoEs everyone around him. And look at that. Look at that damage. But while we're getting to that, everyone say it with me. Grond. 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 Taking a long time. Grond. I have no more command points left. Oh wait, it's still working. Grond. Grond. Let's convert all these guys to my side for a few moments. Join me.
Maintain positions. Let him have it, man.
Yep, we now have Gron, which needs his own hero slot to remember where it is. It's that important. And as you can guess, being the Hammer of the Underworld, it is the strongest thing alive.
Stay focused.
Well, not strongest thing alive. It is the greatest siege equipment in the game. It's massive, it does massive damage, and buffed with Gothmog, it is almost unstoppable. Screech in the distance. For some more Blackguard. Oh, we can't do it in here. It's to stabilize siege work, so we can't make more units from it. Moloch, make some trolls. Can't make them in here. No, I wanted to make the beautiful trolls. Get your hammer. Break the citadel in two. Moloch, do it.
They're attacking over here.
Yeah, look at that damage. Grond's having a bit of trouble going in, so we're having to destroy a wall, and that's it. That's all we're going to have it do. If it can get here in time. So, this is Mordor. Again, sorry for how long this took. Those that didn't want to see such a long video. But, yeah, Mordor is the faction that requires a lot of attention when you're playing them. And that is the aura of Might of the Damned now. It's a poison, apparently. Yeah, it's not actually poisoning us. It's not hurting us. It's just the aura of the Might of the Damned. So yeah, oh no, Sauron's losing some health. He's got it all back. What are you gonna do? Fight me. You kill my orcs, you bring them back. But before the end of this, let's have Grond at least... Let's have Grond at least do a bit of damage to this. Oh, come on. Come on, Grond, you can do it. You can do it, Grond. There we go. I see how much damage it does to a castle gate, castle wall. Half the health, and that was an AoE strike as well. Oh, it sounds like attacking because he's not. Yeah. I think what they did to classify, to give Sauron this much power was to classify him as a builder. That's why he's got this this bit here, because that's the tier of the builders. Yeah, from BFME 2. For those that didn't already know. So yeah, this was all of Mordor. Oh, pardon me. The probably the most diverse roster, the largest array of units, and there's so many ways to play them. It's actually ridiculous the different ways you could play them. So I hope you all did enjoy this. Sorry for how long it was, but again, yep. Mordor requires a lot of looking at. And this took almost 2 hours. Jeez Louise, on a stick or something. This took longer than it should have. That's all I'm going to say. An hour and 14 minutes? Oh my god. I just looked at the time. I started doing this at 2 o'clock. It's now 4:30. Yep. I need some rest. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like, and I'll see you all next time. Farewell. Oh, before I go, next faction will be Isengard. Farewell.